Okay, hello, good afternoon, and good morning, folks. This is Gabe Gurman. Welcome to the Career Place webinar. I am the co-founder and COO of Career Place. And just to let you know, this webinar is being recorded, and we are going to have it in on our social media sites soon after the webinar is over. If you have any questions, you're all muted right now. If you have any questions throughout the webinar, please just post those questions in that Q&A panel. You'll find it in the controls for the Zoom meeting. And at the end of the webinar, we'll get to those questions and be able to answer them. So at this point, I'd like to turn over to Melissa Dobbins, who is our CEO and co-founder. Go ahead, Melissa.
Thank you. And welcome to the career.place webinar. What we're going to show you today is a presentation we gave earlier in the week to a large organization who's considering their talent acquisition process. And what you probably already know is that we are a candidate qualification solution. But let's take a step back and talk about why. Why are we focused on a part of the talent acquisition process? So on the surface, talent acquisition seems easy, right? Hire people. But you have to hire people in a way that's fast and efficient. Because if you don't, you risk losing that great talent that's in your pipeline, and it costs your company money. And you have to do it in a way where you're bringing in the right employees so that they're successful and they're retained. Because if you bring in the wrong employees, or if they leave after a few months, it's costing your company a lot of money. And of course, you have to do it in a way that minimizes liability and maintains compliance. Because if somebody sues you because of who you selected or who you did not select during the hiring process, if you can't easily defend it, then it costs the company money. And of course, you need to do all of this while promoting diversity, because we've all seen all that data that shows how wonderful diversity is for the bottom line. It has to be engaging and competitive, so you're bringing in the best talent, and all of that while protecting your brand. So talent acquisition is not so easy after all. In order to be effective, you need a candidate qualification solution that not only effectively qualifies your applicants, but it does it in a way that increases your efficiency and decreases time to hire. It enables compliance and protects your company by minimizing liability. It promotes diversity by removing bias, and doing all of that while providing a great applicant experience. No problem. For most companies, all that means is redesigning the entire process and keeping their eyes closed so that there's none of that biasing information gets involved. Or, if you prefer to keep your eyes open, you can use us. Career.place is a SaaS-based platform that acts as an applicant funnel to qualify candidates consistently and anonymously using your job criteria. So it's fast, it's efficient, it's compliant, and it's unbiased. So how do we do this? Let's start by talking about what we don't do. Most existing solutions start with the resume and all of that wonderful biasing information the resume provides. And of course, that fantastic time-consuming process of sifting through them all. The candidates themselves are known throughout the whole process, which puts the burden of consistency on the process itself. And they're usually evaluated by telling their stories. How many of us have gone through the interview process and the first thing we're asked to do is walk me through your resume? Those are some pretty fantastic, highly practiced stories, aren't they? And then finally, the process is inconsistent, with applicants being asked different questions, sometimes from the same interviewers. So rather than doing it this way, Career.place does it differently. We start with the job, not the resume, and what those criteria are to be successful in that job. Think of it this way. If you are looking for a solution to another part of your company, buying a piece of technology, you don't start by looking at all the vendors out there and all those beautiful, shiny features that they have to offer. No, you start with your problem and what you need to solve it, and then you look for the vendors that actually solve that problem. Otherwise, you're going to get distracted by all those shiny features and end up with something that doesn't do what you need it to do. Well, that is what we do with applicants. And we do it anonymously so that everyone is focused on what is required of the applicants and not being distracted by those shiny features on a resume. And because we move away from the resume, we can shift from telling a story to showcasing what people are actually capable of by asking them questions that showcase their job abilities or situational analysis. See how they rise to the challenges on the job. And the whole process is consistent. Every applicant gets asked the same questions the same way, making the process highly compliant. But I know what you're thinking. Why not just redact the resume? There are plenty of solutions out there that do it. The black pen on my desk right now is actually quite good at redacting resumes. Okay, well, let's do that. To redact a resume to remove bias, first we need to take out any information about the individual, their name, where they're located, any of their contact information, because that can give away things like gender, ethnicity. And then we also have to take away anything that talks about their title, their current or past titles, because there's title inflation challenges where some demographic groups will tend to be promoted at different levels or given different types of titles. So let's just remove that. Of course, we need to take away any references to industry or university because there could be pedigree biases or industry biases. And of course, anything that talks about dates because there's age and gap bias. All right, okay, there's still some information here, but there's more biases lurking. For example, what about those candidates that can afford to have a professional resume writer writing their resumes for them versus those that can't? Or those that have knowledge of how keywords work and they keyword load their resume versus someone who doesn't. Or someone who might have a buddy who already works at the company or used to and has the inside track of what employers are looking for and how to word various bullets rather than those who don't. So just to be safe, we're going to need a lot more black ink. Or rather than starting with that resume and trying to redact it, start with the job, like what we do with our qualification process. We use a 3-step process, which saves time for both the applicants as well as the employers, because the applicants only go through to the phases that they pass. And we start with basic qualifications. These are the simple things from do you have a driver's license to are you authorized to work in the US to do you know Java? We do not use keywords. We're not searching through documents. We just ask the candidates. That way, there is no miscommunication or misunderstanding. For example, veterans coming out of service might not use the same words that we use or know the right keywords, but they understand where their skills are and they can easily answer the question. This takes applicants about 30 seconds, and it's so much more fair. There's one exception. We do not do just a yes/no question for soft skills. I don't know about you, but I've never had the experience where an applicant will tell me, you know, I'm not very reliable. I'm never going to show up on time. And I have no idea how to communicate properly. We're notoriously bad as humans with knowing our soft skills. So we use integrated assessments to test for those. And then everything else is through a simple questionnaire. For the candidates that meet those basic qualifications, we move on to demonstrate. And these are those job-related questions where candidates answer questions about how they would approach challenges on the job or solve problems. And the employers can evaluate these responses to see if these are the type of individuals that are going to be successful. But what they don't see is if they're evaluating a man or a woman, or their ethnicity, or their age, or anything else that can prove a distraction. Candidates are all evaluated the same way. For those that pass demonstrate, they move on to show, where they can show how they could be a good fit for the company and the team. And at the end of the process, companies have highly qualified applicants that they can be sure meet their needs objectively through the process, so that when they are revealed and you see who they are, their name, their contact information, their resume, portfolio, anything else they choose to share, you know these are candidates that can be very successful on the job. So how do we fit in? Well, we're built on open APIs, so we can easily integrate into your existing ecosystem, or you could use us standalone right now. So you could redesign your process and keep your eyes closed to make sure that you keep bias out of your system. Or you could use career.place and effectively qualify your applicants while increasing efficiency and decreasing time, enabling compliance and protecting your company, while promoting diversity by removing bias and creating a great applicant experience.